General Alexandria Carter leaned back in her chair, boots propped on the war table, a half-empty beer bottle spinning between her fingers. The room was tense, filled with the murmurs of admirals and tacticians analyzing the latest atrocity broadcasted across human space. The Galactic Empire had made its move, and it was a brutal one. A holographic projection flickered above the table, a charred planet, still smoldering from orbital bombardment. The colony of Vespera Prime had been thriving just days ago. Now it was a graveyard, over 15 million dead. Fleet Admiral Vasquez slammed a fist on the table. They want us scared. They want us to surrender. His voice was hoarse with fury. This is their final warning. Alex took a slow sip of her beer, letting the bitter taste linger. Final warnings are for people who think we're still playing their game. The room fell silent. Eyes turned toward her. They all knew Alex Carter was unconventional, reckless even. But no one could deny that when she made a move, the universe paid attention. "They've backed us into a corner, General," Admiral Lin said. "The Empire has the resources, the manpower, the firepower. If we don't surrender..." Alex let her chair drop forward, boots hitting the ground with a thud. "Surrender? They won't stop at Vespera Prime. They'll keep going. Humanity has two options. Kneel or make them regret thinking we ever would." The room bristled with tension. Even those who agreed with her hesitated. They weren't just up against an empire, they were up against history itself. No species had ever successfully rebelled against the Galactic Empire. "We can't outgun them," Vasquez said. "We barely have enough ships left to hold our borders. Their fleet outnumbers us 50 to 1. "Then we stop thinking like them," Alex said. She leaned forward, eyes sharp. "We don't win by fighting fair. We win by being unpredictable, by making them think twice before ever pulling something like this again." There was a beat of silence. Then, a voice from the shadows at the edge of the room. "You have something in mind, General?" Alex turned her head slightly, meeting the gaze of Cipher 9, a human AI hybrid intelligence expert. The man was a ghost, never fully in the room, always half somewhere else, interfacing with data streams. His presence meant she had an audience beyond the table. Alex smirked and set down her beer. "Hold this." Then she laid out her plan. It wasn't about meeting the Empire head-on. That was suicide. Instead, it was about breaking their structure from the inside out. The Empire functioned like a machine, perfectly calibrated, efficient, terrifying in its precision. But all machines had weak points, and Alex Carter had spent years learning exactly where to hit. "Their fleets are automated," she said. "Tactically brilliant but predictable. Their command structure is rigid, dependent on centralized orders. We don't attack their forces, we attack their ability to coordinate." Cipher 9 nodded slightly, a flicker of something like amusement in his usually impassive expression. "You're talking about targeting their quantum relay network." Lin inhaled sharply. "That's impossible. The relays are the most secure infrastructure in the galaxy." Alex shrugged. "So was their last stronghold. Until it wasn't." A low murmur spread through the room. The plan was insane. A full-scale infiltration into the heart of the Empire's communications network. If they succeeded, they wouldn't just disrupt military coordination. They'd send the entire Empire into chaos. Systems would fall into darkness, fleets would be stranded, and command would collapse into infighting. "If we pull this off," Alex said, "they'll never see us as insignificant again." Vasquez exhaled slowly. "And if we fail?" Alex smiled. "Then we die making them bleed." The mission was greenlit within hours. A strike team was assembled, hand-picked operatives, cyber warfare specialists, and engineers capable of breaking through the Empire's most advanced firewalls. It was a mix of hardened veterans and those who had nothing left to lose. Among them was Juno Ash, an ex-Imperial officer who had defected after witnessing the Empire's brutality firsthand. She was their best chance at getting past the Empire's security, but trust was thin. Many in the fleet still saw her as the enemy. "You don't have to like me," Juno told Alex as they prepped for departure. "You just have to trust that I hate them more than you do." Alex nodded. "Works for me." The infiltration team boarded the Oblivion, a stealth ship with technology so experimental it barely held together in flight. Their destination was Sigma Red, one of the most heavily guarded Empire relay stations. No one had ever broken into Sigma Red and lived. Alex intended to be the first. As they approached the station, alarms blared across the ship. Cipher 9, plugged into the ship systems, spoke in a calm monotone. "They know we're here," Alex cursed. "How?" Juno was already working through the data. They changed security protocols. Someone high up expected something like this. Options. Fight our way in or die trying. The Oblivion shuddered as Empire patrol ships closed in. The ship's AI screamed warnings as energy cannons charged. Alex strapped in, eyes burning with determination. Then let's make it count. The battle was on. The Oblivion burned through the void, its hull shuddering as enemy fire grazed its shields. Inside, Alex Carter gripped the command chair, watching the tactical display flicker with red indicators. They were outnumbered 10-1, and the Sigma Red relay station was bristling with defenses. Juno Ash worked furiously at her station, slicing through encrypted channels. "We've lost the stealth advantage," she called out. "Empire's already adapting." Cipher 9's voice remained eerily calm. "Their response time suggests a preemptive measure. They anticipated an incursion, but not this level of aggression." Alex smirked. "Good. Let's make sure they regret not thinking bigger." With a flick of her wrist, she rerouted auxiliary power to the ship's engines. The Oblivion dove into a reckless spiral, skimming the Empire's automated defense grid. Their attackers scrambled to adjust, caught off guard by the unpredictability of human piloting. Machines operated on precision. Alex operated on instinct. The hangar bay of Sigma Red loomed ahead. There was no time for careful maneuvers. "Brace!" Alex ordered. The ship crashed through the force field with a gut-wrenching jolt, metal screeching as it skidded to a halt. Smoke filled the cabin. Alex unstrapped herself and grabbed her weapon. "Move!" The infiltration team poured out, engaging the Empire security forces in a brutal, close-quarters firefight. Plasma rounds lit the darkened corridors, the scent of scorched metal filling the air. Juno's voice cut through the chaos. "We need to reach the relay core before they lock down external access." Alex pressed forward, leading the charge. Empire soldiers in pristine white armor fell under the withering assault of human gunfire. These weren't mindless drones. These were elite enforcers, trained to defend high-priority installations at any cost. And they were losing ground. Cipher 9 moved like a phantom, his neural uplink disrupting the station's security protocols. Doors hissed open where they should have remained locked. Turrets turned on their own men. He was rewriting the battlefield in real time. But the Empire was adapting. "Reinforcements inbound," Juno warned. "Heavy armor." Alex gritted her teeth. They were running out of time. They reached the relay core, a sprawling data nexus glowing with pulsating blue light. Juno sprinted to the main terminal, fingers dancing across the interface. Cipher 9's pupils dilated as he connected directly to the station's systems. "This will take time." "We don't have time," Alex snapped. She turned to her team. "Hold this position." The first wave of reinforcements hit like a hammer. Empire shock troopers flooded the corridor, their armor absorbing initial impacts before returning deadly, coordinated fire. The firefight turned savage. Alex moved with ruthless efficiency, her rifle spitting bursts of lethal energy. Beside her, Sergeant Vale, a towering brute of a soldier, cut down enemies with a heavy repeater. A grenade landed near the terminal. Juno barely had time to react before Vale threw himself over it. The explosion rocked the room, and when the smoke cleared, Vale was gone. Juno clenched her jaw but kept working. Almost there. Cipher 9 twitched, his body jerking as he fought against the Empire's AI defenses. "They're deploying countermeasures. We need an override." Alex tore off her helmet, sweat dripping down her brow. "What kind of override?" Cipher 9's voice wavered, uncharacteristically human. "A direct neural link." The room went still. A neural link into an Empire system wasn't just dangerous, it was suicide. The Empire's security AI was designed to shred unauthorized minds apart. Alex exhaled sharply. If that's what it takes. Juno's eyes widened. Alex, no. That's not. Do it. Cypher 9 hesitated, then extended a trembling hand. Alex grasped it. The world vanished. She was drowning in code, her mind sinking into a digital battlefield where firewalls turned into towering monoliths and security subroutines swarmed like mechanical beasts. Pain lanced through her skull, but she pushed forward, carving through the defenses with sheer force of will. The Empire's AI loomed, a monstrous intelligence that recognized the intruder and responded with lethal intent. It struck like a tidal wave, trying to erase her existence. Alex gritted her teeth and pushed back. Cypher 9 was there, guiding her through the chaos, their minds merging into a single directive: break the system. The battle raged, seconds stretching into eternity. Then, a breach. Alex gasped, snapping back into reality. The relay core flickered, its security systems unraveling. Juno's voice was hoarse. We're in. Cypher 9 collapsed, blood dripping from his nose, his body barely responsive. But the job was done. Across the Empire, chaos erupted. Fleet communications scrambled, orders garbled. Warships left adrift without coordination. The Empire's precision shattered in an instant. Juno exhaled, shaking. You actually did it. Alex forced a smirk, though the pain in her head threatened to tear her apart. Never doubted it. But the battle wasn't over. An alarm blared. The station was preparing for self-destruction. Juno cursed. They'd rather wipe this place than let us use it. Alex hauled Cypher 9 onto her shoulder. Time to go. They ran, the corridors collapsing around them as the station's death sequence initiated. Fire raged. Bodies littered the halls. The Oblivion was waiting, engines hot. They barely made it inside before the station detonated in a blinding flash. The shockwave sent them tumbling, but they survived. The mission was over, and the Empire had just been dealt a wound it wouldn't recover from. The Oblivion drifted in the aftermath of the explosion, battered but intact. Fires flickered in the ruined control panels, and alarms wailed throughout the cabin. Alex Carter sat slumped against the bulkhead, the weight of the mission pressing down harder than the lingering pain in her skull. Across from her, Cypher 9 lay motionless, his body eerily still. His neural link had been pushed beyond safe limits, and even though Juno had stabilized him, there was no telling how much of him was left inside that shattered mind. The comm crackled, and Admiral Vasquez's voice filled the cabin. General, report. Alex forced herself to sit upright. Mission accomplished. There was a long pause. When Vasquez spoke again, his voice was different, heavier, like he knew exactly what that success had cost. Understood. You need to get back to Fleet Command immediately. The Empire's response has begun. Juno wiped sweat and blood from her face, exhaustion carving deep lines into her features. What does he mean, response? Cypher 9 stirred, his voice a whisper. They're recalibrating. Alex frowned. Explain. Cypher 9's unfocused eyes fluttered open, his voice sluggish. The Empire functions on order. We disrupted that. Their automated fleets, their command structure, it all fractured the moment we took Sigma Red offline. Juno exhaled sharply. That means they can't coordinate their forces. Cypher 9 coughed, a weak, rattling sound. Not yet. Alex felt the weight of his words settle in her gut. The Empire was wounded but not broken. Their loss of communication was a setback, not a death sentence. If they were recalibrating, that meant they were adapting. She forced herself to her feet, gripping the overhead railing as the ship's damaged thrusters engaged. Then we hit them before they recover. Juno hesitated. Alex, our fleet is in no shape to. We don't need the fleet. Alex turned to Cypher 9. Where's their next central relay? He twitched, struggling to process, then rasped, Nexus Prime. But, she turned to Juno. Can we get there before they rebuild their network? Juno's fingers flew over the console, calculating. Maybe. But Nexus Prime isn't just a relay, it's a fortress. Sigma Red was nothing compared to it. Alex's lips pressed into a thin line. Then we don't fight our way in. We make them open the door for us. Cypher 9 forced himself up, eyes flickering with something almost like understanding. You want to make them think we're already inside. Alex nodded. We hijack their emergency protocols. Make them believe an infiltration is already happening. They'll let us in trying to flush out an enemy that isn't even there. Juno looked skeptical but didn't argue. Instead, she turned back to her console. Then we better move. The Oblivion lurched forward, accelerating toward Nexus Prime. The moment they dropped out of warp, alarms lit up the ship. Empire warships already in position. Alex exhaled. Looks like they're expecting us. Cypher 9's hands trembled as he interfaced with the ship's systems. I can still get in, but I won't be able to hold it for long. Juno worked furiously, feeding false data into the Empire's security grid. We've got one shot at this. The tension in the cabin was suffocating. Then, the Empire's defenses faltered. Doors unlocked. Access codes were accepted. They were in. The Oblivion slipped past the outer perimeter, unnoticed by the station's automated security. Inside, the Empire's forces scrambled, responding to a non-existent threat in the lower levels. Alex grabbed her rifle. Let's end this. They moved quickly, navigating the labyrinthine corridors of Nexus Prime. Cypher 9's body was failing, but his mind remained razor-sharp, guiding them through enemy blind spots. At the core of the station, they found what they were looking for, a control nexus pulsing with raw data. The beating heart of the Empire's war machine. Juno hesitated. This is different. Alex's fingers hovered over her weapon. How? Cypher 9's voice was barely audible. It's not just a relay, it's an intelligence hub. Alex's mind raced. The Empire's entire strategic database was here. Not just orders. Not just communication. Everything. She looked at Juno. We don't just shut it down. We take it. Juno's eyes widened. That's the only way to end this war. Cypher 9 collapsed, his body convulsing. Juno cursed, working desperately to stabilize him. Alex, we don't have time. Alex turned to the core. The Empire had spent centuries refining its war machine. It had crushed civilizations, rewritten histories, dictated the fate of entire species. But now Alex Carter stood at its heart, and she was going to tear it out. With a single command, she overrode the system. The Empire's fleet stuttered, their AI-driven coordination unraveling into chaos. Entire sectors plunged into darkness. Supply chains collapsed. Command structures disintegrated. The Galactic Empire didn't just lose its communication network. It lost control. Juno gasped. You did it. Alex exhaled, stepping back from the console. No, she said. We did. Cypher 9's breathing was shallow. His mind burned out from the strain. Juno knelt beside him, eyes glistening. The ship's comm crackled. Vasquez's voice came through, raw with emotion. General, the Empire. Alex cut him off. It's over. Outside, the Empire's fleets faltered. Some fought desperately, clinging to their shattered command. Others simply stopped, their automated orders lost to the void. For the first time in history, the Galactic Empire had no one giving the orders. The war was over. Alex Carter took one last look at the burning station. Then she turned away. The future awaited.